Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Fairport Heart, Children of God, and that's you, and that's you, and that's me, and that's me. I just wanted to say very quickly for my records that I'm really glad to see a little more exposure in the government realm. The one in Minneapolis with that situation is quite mind-blowing. And I hope that even more is discovered in Michigan. But I always feel like Michigan is just kind of skipped over. Like, some stuff, but like, it's just a little bit of it, and it's not like the whole. And, I don't just hate Michigan. I think Michigan may hate me. I don't know, but the state does, the government. But I called in so many things through the decades, and maybe that's why, I suppose, and some other stuff. But I am really glad to see this exposure, and always remember, it's important that you find yourself with Jesus, within yourself, of yourself first, if you can. If you can't, have Jesus guide you through the healing process. These talking heads aren't going to stop. They had all this time to look at all this stuff, and then they just talk in more circles and keep us all. I'm really just encouraging you as a person to just learn new skills, even things that are going to help you live. If, for instance, there was a collapse, or repairing things, or fixing foods you never fixed before. Something I did between like my mid-30s. It wasn't that I was a poor cook. I just was very boring, and I just didn't know a lot yet. It had some stuff to do with my past too, but we don't need to get into that. So once I started to just get more comfortable cooking and looking at recipes, I became more comfortable trying different things so I wouldn't get in a rut. And like, those things make you feel better. Those things are not necessarily why we can live through this life, but it certainly makes it a lot better than just relying on other people's opinions to form who we are, do what we think we're supposed to do because of someone else. But that if we really find a deep relationship with Jesus Christ, we can find other skills and gifts that maybe we didn't even know that we had, and or that we were interested in. And it's all along the lines of creating. So you're creating a dish, you're learning to make a meal, you're creating that meal. Or art, or writing, or some form of expression. But it's just very important to find your authentic self in these darker days where we're getting a lot of exposure, and it's kind of hard to really wrap our heads around, because so now we know that's where our tax dollars were going, but it still doesn't really solve the rampant trafficking problem, and why most local governments and governments at large in America are not assisting or working as a team with citizens. Like I said, it's like a slave of a slave of a slave. Dominance over dominance over dominance is what I meant. So, it's sad. It's a predator nation. It's a predator country. And so I hope that we can eventually get out of that.